I think my personal opinion is it's going to breach the 62% mark.
Well, looks like that, because at 3 o'clock it was 53.7, and when 5 o'clock data came out, it was almost 7% jump. So in all probability, it will definitely breach the 62 point. It'll be safe to assume that it'll breach 62.6, and this makes it the highest voter turnout in a long time. It'll be interesting to see whether the phase 2 also mirrors or echoes a similar sentiment. But it's definitely a good day for democracy, where such a vast number of people have exercised their vote. It'll be very, very interesting to see how it pans out, because this election is by and large, minor jungle raj versus non-jungle raj, and various plays in work. It was not a high octane, high pitched, intense battle as we have seen it happening in Uttar Pradesh or 2020 election. So it will be very interesting to see who is driving, or what factors are driving this high turnout. Is it going to be against?
I know everyone,
is it going to be
everyone
pro?
wants to speak on it. Professor Ashwini Kumar, your take on something which I feel history is being made. It's going to breach that 62.6% data. Why is this happening? Is it pro-incumbency or is it anti-incumbency?
I mean, I'm not surprised. First and important thing that I'm not surprised. I was expecting, expecting this kind of a turnout. Whether or not it becomes historic, let's wait for the second phase, average out. But here, a couple of things that we must pay attention to. It is now, what I would say, incumbent advantage, Nitish advantage, largely because of, if my hypothesis is correct, I would say the Sajaria effect and Jivika Didi turnout, massive. So I would say, on the lighter note, I am in Bombay. So Jiye tu Bihar ke lali, jiye tu Hazar Sal. I mean, this is fantastic in Bihar. I've never ever seen, and now coming back, just give me a second in terms of the data. Looking at the data, Karthikeya and the panelists, let's pay attention to the granular data of men and women. Historically, women have been voting more than the men, So this really proves the hypothesis that Jiye to Bihar ke lali, they have come out in large numbers because of Jivika Didi mobilization. Just note 1 crore 20 lakh accounts of Jivika Didi have reached the Sajaria. So this is like, in terms of incumbent reinforcement theory is going. And then, third, in terms of, statistically, what it happens, it can shift 15 to 20 seats. If it is repeated in the second phase and continues to have the same Jivika Didi resonance, I think there will be historic landslide victory also. Let's see.
Okay, very quickly. Santosh, your assessment, why is the voter turnout high? And is it going to benefit Nitish Kumar, or is it benefiting Mahagathbandhan?
Yeah, as Ashwini sir said, it looks, I think, pro-incumbency vote.
Oh, pro-incumbency.
Yeah. Of course, it looks pro-incumbency vote. It looks like vote for Nitish Kumar. I have not seen such kind of surge in last two, three elections. But again, as Ashwini sir said, even I am not surprised with a lot of awareness among voters, especially among female voters as well. And the kind of participation they had in their rallies, even during the roadshow of the NDA leaders, it was huge. In comparison to that, we hardly see a good turnout at Tejashwi's rally in terms of presence of women voters. I'm not talking about overall. Overall, he also drew a good crowd. So this tells a great story what Nitish Kumar had started in 2006 with the 50% reservation for women, and then topped it up with the uniform bicycle schemes, and that went on so many sundry schemes. And I think now it has resulted into this kind of turnout. So it is, again, I would repeat, it's a pro-income. It looks a massive pro-income.
Okay. Before I go to Smita and Faizan, let me just throw some data on screen. For example, in 2020, the thin line between NDA and Mahagathbandhan was 12,768 votes. If you recall, I was having this conversation in the morning. 12,768 votes. This was the difference in the 2020. Now, in 2024, BJP secured 39.94% of the votes in Haryana, while Congress Alliance managed 39.34%. Gap between Congress and the BJP was 83,825. In Odisha, BJP bagged 40.22% votes and 151 seats, while BJP bagged 40.07% votes, less, but still got 78 seats. In Himachal Pradesh in 2022, Congress dislodged BJP. Vote difference? 37,974 votes. In 2018 in Madhya Pradesh, BJP backed 41.6% votes, got 109 seats. National Congress backed 41.5% votes, 0.1% less, 0.1, but got 114 seats. So, Smita, the question is very simple. Going by the percentage of vote share, are we looking at a close election victory or the margins are going to increase?
Well, you see, you've just mentioned what are in absolute numbers, the difference between the two alliances was so thin, so meager. But we cannot forget the fact that in that election, Chirag Paswan was fighting, independently with a couple of very small parties, and he had challenged the JDU everywhere. So when we compare the two alliances, we have to factor that subtext also. But more importantly, if you look in terms of percentage, I think the vote share percent difference between the two alliances was something around 0.03%, which means not even 0.5%. We have seen such elections in Chhattisgarh in the past. I have seen elections where the vote share percentage couldn't tell you anything.
Okay.
Because in such a small difference of vote share, anybody can win actually with some votes. But coming to the turnout thing, Kartikeya, I think, we are far away from those days when we used to be told by our seniors and editors in the newsroom that if the vote percentage, if a lot of people are voting, to sarkar gayi. I mean, that theory has been busted a dozen times by now. And it's not always a reflection of anger. In many cases, it is a reflection of the fact that the voter wants stability to continue. And before we make it a very political conversation, which certainly it is, I want to compliment the voters of Bihar today, and especially the women. They are the heroines of this day, and also Election Commission. Please remember that the big numbers in which the young voters and first-time voters are coming out is also because the Election Commission nowadays has not limited its campaign for voting only during some election time. It's a year, it goes on the whole year round. The sweep thing about, exhorting people to come out and exercise their franchise is now a full-time campaign for the Election Commission. You will find these meetings in Nirvachan Sadan all the time. So I think the first credit goes to the Election Commission and then to the voters. Thirdly, the credit must go to the environment.
There's a breaking news. There's a bit of a breaking news, Smita. Election Commission is saying approximate voter turnout trend. Approximate voter turnout trend. This is a breaking news. 60.25%. This is going to get upgraded by 9 o'clock. This is an approximation.
When the last
it has already touched 60.
Yeah. No, when the last reports have come from all the booths, all the far-flung booths, and it will all be tabulated, you will find that it will go much higher than this. And my only wish is that the people who will be voting in the second phase, they get inspired by this turnout in the first phase, and they come out in even bigger numbers. You see, all over the country, people have started voting in very big numbers.